Welcome back to another edition of Sports Apostle. Today, I'm going to talk about MLB trades. There was a flurry of MLB trades at the trade deadline this year, but it seemed like there was more trades this year than I can ever remember going down. Not going to touch on all of them. I'm going to try and kind of hit the bigger ones here, go through some of those, and so we'll jump right into it here. We'll start with the Cardinals. So they traded with the Red Sox and the Mets this year. So they sent Steven Matz to the Red Sox for an corner infielder, Blaze Jordan. He was their number 17 prospect in the Red Sox, their organization. So in this year, batting splitting time between AA and AAA, batted .308, 12 home runs, 62 RBIs, and 872 OPS. They also traded their closer Ryan Helsley to the Mets. Helsley had a 3 ERA, 41 strikeouts in 36 innings, and had 1 earned run over his last 11 appearances. So the Mets are getting a really good closer there. The Cardinals, in return, they end up getting an infielder, Jesus Baez, number 8 prospect in the Mets organization. Pitcher Nate Dom, number 14 prospect, and pitcher Frank Elisault, another pitcher who was in high A. So Cardinals pick up 2 good infielders there, and it's a little bit of pitching as well. I know they also did some drafting in the draft this year. They picked up some good pitching, so looks like they're trying to bolster their pitching down in the minor leagues for the future. Also, like I said, picked up some good infielders there with Blaze Jordan and Jesus Baez. Moving on, we'll talk about the Padres. They picked up closer Mason Miller and got a starter JP Sears. They got them from the A's, and the A's got shortstop Leo DeVries, pitcher, trying to read my own handwriting, Braden Nett. He was the number 3 prospect for the Padres. Henry Baez, number 13 prospect. And, some of these names are going to be really tough to say. I'm going to do my best. Eduardo Nunez, number 17 prospect with the A's, or with the Padres. So A's pick up those guys. The one thing the Padres are getting there with Miller is he is actually under contract through 2029, and JP Sears is under contract through 2028. So they gave up some prospects, but they get a good closer, flamethrower in Mason Miller. I think I just saw today that he was pitching, hit 102, 102, 104, 102 in an inning. So definitely got a strong arm there. Leo DeVries, that shortstop that the A's get, he is MLB number 3 prospect in all of MLB, is what I thought I came across. So A's got some really good return there for the pitching they gave up. Let's go quick one with the Astros. They get Carlos Correa back. He went to the Twins in free agency and now is coming back because the Astros are going to have him play third base. And they gave up a left-handed pitcher, Matt Mikulski, to the Twins. So the Padres made a bunch of moves. They are obviously making a big push for the playoffs this year. So not only did they get closer Mason Miller and a starting pitcher in JP Sears, they also picked up a first baseman and DH, Ryan O'Hearn from the Orioles, and Ramon Laureano from the Orioles. And the Orioles got 6 prospects back. From what I saw, I didn't spend a lot of time searching, but it just said prospects, so I don't have any information on what they got in return there. The Padres also traded with the Brewers. The Padres got Nestor Cortez, former Yankees pitcher, and they sent Brandon Lockridge, outfielder, to the Brewers. They also got another catcher, trying to shore up that spot a little bit, with Freddie Furman from the Royals. They sent the Royals right-handed pitchers Ryan Bergert and what is that? Stephen Kolek. So Padres making several moves there. Next, we're going to stay over there on the West Coast. We're going to go to the Mariners. Mariners made a big move here, getting a big bat in Eugenio Suarez. So he actually was with the Seattle Mariners. I think it's 23 and 24. I think he was with them those 2 years. So the Mariners send to the Diamondbacks Tyler Locklear. I had posted a video a couple weeks ago talking about his swing and how he made some adjustments in it. So he was their number 9 prospect. So we'll see how he looks. I don't know if he'll get called up this year with the Diamondbacks or not. My guess is probably get called up in September. Get a little taste, if not sooner. The Diamondbacks also picked up right-handed pitchers Hunter Cranton and Juan Burgos. Those guys are number 16 and number 17 prospects in the Mariners organization. The Mariners also got first baseman Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks for left-handed pitcher Brandon Garcia, who was number 13 prospect, and right-handed pitcher Ashton Izzy, I think he's like the number 18 prospect for the Mariners. So Mariners getting some big bats there to go along with a pretty good offense already. I think they were like number 5 in all of MLB in home runs. Obviously, Cal Raleigh had a lot to do with that. He's got last 42 at least home runs this year. Almost tied Barry Bonds for the first half. They ended up like 1 home run short of tying Barry Bonds' record for home runs in the first half this year. We're going to jump to the Phillies. Phillies made a couple moves. They went out and acquired Johan Duran from the Twins. Another big closer there that went this year. That seemed to be a big theme this year, and it probably is quite a bit every year, as all teams are looking for closers to make that push into the playoffs and take them to the World Series with a really strong bullpen. So they picked up Duran from the Twins. They sent catcher Eduardo Tale, who is 18 years old, and he was the number 4 prospect in the Phillies organization. They also sent over right-handed pitcher Mick Abel, who was the number 6 prospect in the Phillies organization. So Duran this year had a 2.01 ERA and 53 strikeouts. The Phillies also went out and got Harrison Bader from the Twins. They sent outfielder Hendry Mendez, who was their number 12 prospect, and right-handed pitcher Jeremy Villoria, who is a 17-year-old. So the Twins picked up some really young talent there with an 18-year-old catcher and a 17-year-old pitcher. And Phillies, one more move. They got Matt Manning from the Tigers, who is a pitcher. The Tigers, they got outfielder Josue Quinones. So Phillies getting Harrison Bader, former Cardinal, came up with the Cardinals, got traded to the Yankees, then went to the Twins. Now is with the Phillies. Has a good shot to go deep in the playoffs with them. He's got a little bit of playoff experience, I think, with the Cardinals and the Yankees, so that'll be good for the Phillies to have as well. And he needed a really good defender out there in center field. They've been handing Brandon Marsh out there playing center field for them this year, and Brandon Marsh is okay, but he's not a top end center fielder by any means. So that's a good pickup for the Phillies, I think, for defense. And Harrison Bader's he's all right with the bat. He's going to kind of have your ebb and flow a little bit, ups and downs, but he's got good speed, has a little bit of pop. Moving on to the Mets. As stated earlier, the Mets picked up Ryan Helsley. Big get for them for their bullpen. They also got Tyler Rogers from the Giants. Another bullpen arm for them there. He's the one, he throws like submarine style. The Mets sent right-handed pitcher Jose Butto and right-handed pitcher Blade Tidwell and outfielder Drew Gilbert to the Giants. Butto has been up with the Mets for the last several years, pitching on their bullpen. Pretty decent. I think he had around a 3.7 ERA, somewhere in there. Blade Tidwell was number 10 prospect, and Gilbert was number 12 prospect. The Mets also went out and got Cedric Mullins from the Orioles, picking up a center fielder for them as well. They sent right-handed pitcher Anthony Nunez, right-handed pitcher Raymond Gomez, and right-handed pitcher Chandler March. So Mets kind of just dumped a whole lot of pitching to get Tyler Rogers and Cedric Mullins. So hopefully that works out for them. We'll see how that goes. Nunez was a number 14 prospect with the Mets, and I didn't have, I guess Gomez and Marsh must have been a little farther down. I don't have a ranking for them. All right, Red Sox. As stated earlier, they made a trade with the Cardinals. They picked up Steven Matz. The other big move they kind of made was they went out and got Dustin May from the Dodgers. So picking up a big starting pitcher there. They sent the Dodgers outfielder James Tibbs III, who was their number 5 prospect. He split time between high A and double A this year. And they also sent Zach Earhart, same thing, also split time between A and double A this year. And he's their number 27 prospect. Dustin May has had some injury problems. Although he's been healthy this year, he's actually made 18 starts this year. 4.85 ERA, so not the best ERA. I'm sure the Red Sox are hoping he can kind of get that straightened out and bring that down some for them. Moving on to the Rays. The Rays made some moves here. They picked up right-handed pitcher Griffin Jacks, bullpen arm from the Twins for right-handed pitcher Taj Bradley. Taj Bradley's been up for several years. He's actually been with the Rays for a couple years now. Pitching for them, and recently they just sent him back down to AAA. I think his ERA was over 5, so I'm sure the Twins will hope that he can kind of turn things around and be up with their club next year. The Rays also went out and got catcher Hunter Fiducia and right-handed pitcher Brian Van Bell. This was part of a 3-team trade where the Reds ended up getting Zach Littell. Interesting move because the Reds actually have a pretty good rotation. So I'm guessing they're just kind of playing the insurance game in case somebody gets hurt. And the Dodgers were also involved in this trade. They got left-handed pitcher Adam Serenowski, right-handed pitcher Paul Gervais, and catcher Ben Rortvedt. So that was a interesting three-team trade going on there. The Rays also ended up picking up Adrian Hauser from the White Sox for infielder Curtis Mead, right-handed pitcher Duncan Davitt, and right-handed pitcher Benjamin Peoples. Adrian Hauser, a couple years ago, really high strikeouts. I think he had some injury issues. Also, just I haven't even looked at him this year, surprisingly, with in fantasy baseball. So I'm gonna guess he's not doing real great this year. But definitely there's potential there. Like I said, a lot of high strikeouts when he first came up to the league. Now we'll go back to the Reds again, as we just mentioned in that three-team trade with the Rays and the Dodgers. They got Zach Littell. They also ended up trading with the Pirates. They got third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes. Hayes is a Gold Glove third baseman. The Pirates end up getting an infielder, Sammy Staffura, who's the number 9 prospect in the Reds organization, and left-handed pitcher Taylor Rogers. Taylor Rogers are twins that pitch. Interesting fact, they both got traded on the same day. And then Taylor, the next day, got traded to the Cubs after getting traded to the Pirates from the Reds. So he just took almost made a whole round trip to the Central Division there in the National League, going from the Reds to the Pirates to the Cubs in a matter of 2 days. Speaking of the Cubs also picked up utility Willie Castro from the Twins. As you've heard me say the Twins a lot, they have definitely had a fire sale. Their farm system has got to be stacked right now. So I would guess this year is the rest of this year for the Twins, probably going to be a little rough. Next year, we'll have to see how it plays out for them next year. See if some of these prospects that they picked up are how close they were to being major leaguers and how much they develop the rest of this year with not only guys they picked up, but the guys they had already in their farm system. But I'm guessing the Twins are looking for about 2-3 years to be at the top of the AL Central and trying to go, hopefully going deep into the playoffs with all these prospects that they've picked up this year. Anyways, the Twins picked up in that trade with the Cubs. They picked up right-handed pitcher Sam Armstrong and right-handed pitcher Ryan Gallagher. The Brewers in the Central Division here ended up getting Shelby Miller and Jordan Montgomery from the D-backs. So another team I've mentioned a lot is the D-backs. They've definitely had another fire sale. Let's go down south to the Rangers. The Rangers made a big move. I think it was a little unexpected. They ended up going out and getting Merrill Kelly from the D-backs for left-handed pitchers Cole Drake, right-handed pitcher David Hageman, and left-handed pitcher Mitch Bratt. Merrill Kelly's been a really solid pitcher for the D-backs this year. 3.22 ERA. And now the Rangers have a really big three in Jacob deGrom. I lost who their guy was. But they have now 3 really good starters in their rotation that will have a chance to take them deep into the playoffs. They also picked up 2 bullpen arms in Danny Colum from the Twins and Phil Matten from the Cardinals. With the Cardinals, Matten was a setup man, and many thought once Helsley was gone, Matten was going to be their closer. But the Cardinals ended up trading him to the Rangers too. Moving out east now, we're going to go to the Yankees. The Yankees needed some bullpen help, and they went and got it. They went out and got David Bednar from the Pirates, one of the top closers in the game. They sent the Pirates catcher Rafael Flores, catcher Edgelin Perez, and outfielder Brian Sanchez. Flores is number 8 prospect for the Yankees, and Perez was a number 14 prospect for the Yankees. They also went out and traded for Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. Third baseman. I remember Ryan McMahon came up several years ago. He had some pretty good hype around him as a pretty good bat. I think he came up as a shortstop originally, but he's been playing third base now for several years out there. The Yankees sent the Rockies left-handed pitcher Griffin Herring and left-handed pitcher Josh Groves. Ryan McMahon, interesting note here, has hit at least 20 home runs over the last 4 years and is under contract through 2027. So not a bad pickup for the Yankees. He's a left-handed bat, and I think that plays well at Yankee Stadium as well. So that could be a pretty good little bat in their lineup there. The Yankees also went out and traded for Camilo Doval from the Giants for 4 prospects. He's was a closer for the Giants, and he is also under contract through 28. So a couple guys they pick up, they actually will have for a couple years here. So they also went and got a utility player, Jose Caballero from the Rays, for outfielder Everson Pereira and a player to be named later or cash. So Caballero, neat little guy here, can play all positions, so that's nice to have coming off your bench, a guy that can play everywhere and play it well. But he is tied for first in steals this year with 34 stolen bases. I think last year he led the majors with 44, or led the AL. I think he led the AL with 44. And in fact, he was the Yankees and the Rays were actually playing each other when this trade happened. So he just walked from one dugout to the other dugout. I heard that happened years ago. Man, it had to be back in the late 70s or early 80s. That happened to a guy. He literally walked out into the dugout and into the clubhouses, one clubhouse, the other clubhouse, and back up into the other dugout. That's got to be weird. And now let's go to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays just made the one move. They went out and got Shane Bieber from the Guardians for right-handed pitcher Carl Steven, who was the Blue Jays' number 5 prospect. Shane Bieber hasn't pitched in the majors since April of 2024 due to Tommy John surgery. And he has a player option for 2026, so be interesting to see if he cashes in on that player option to stay with the Blue Jays, or he opts for free agency. I may depend on how he pitches the rest of this year. So if he pitches well, he may opt out and see what he can get out there in free agency. If he doesn't pitch so well, he may stay with the Blue Jays to try and have one more year under his belt before he jumps out into free agency. The last little note I had was just about the Tigers. They picked up several pitchers. No big names that they got, but I did see that I think they picked up like 5-6 pitchers right before the trade deadline. So that's a rundown of the bigger trades that happened. There were a lot more smaller trades with some guys, filler guys, bench guys, things like that. Some bullpen arms just to kind of round out bullpens. Some I think other guys that would probably be kind of utility guys out there just to kind of fill up bench spots. So that'll do it for today.